So my name is Gala Nareso, and I will be the host today. That just means that I will be helping with any technical needs that people have during the call, and just kind of creating some sequence for the call as well. And I've just began recording so that this call can be available to others in the group at a later date. And we will be archiving and sharing these calls as we continue. So this is part of the Families and Children in Shambhala group. And I'm lucky enough to know everyone in this group from family camp at Karma Choling in the summertime, where we've gone with, I've gone with my family for the past 6 years. Families and Children in Shambhala has been active for decades and providing an opportunity to hold a view for caring for children and families in Shambhala. In the current iteration, we have a group who still meets monthly and who has organized this call, so that is us. And as we were just talking about, the idea is to grow this group and invite people in, whoever feels called to participate, whether they be a part of Shambhala or not. And so thank you everyone for joining us. Who's coming on? There's Tracy again. So our topic this month is how can we mindfully manage expectations and bring more joy to holiday celebrations? And I know that just being here with all of you is already a part of that. So here's our theme for the day. Ritual brings power and shape to our season by stirring our hearts and spirits and strengthening our shared experience. If you're interested in how we carry an intention to enrich the meaning of gatherings and celebrations with family and friends, and therefore enable these experiences to invite and delight, rather than intimidate us with speed and materialism. So that is what we're all here to examine together today. Today we'll explore how we can use ritual and mindfully manage expectations and set intentions during the holidays. That is our theme. And today our facilitator is Gwen Pollara, who I am very happy to be meeting. Gwen is a mother of 2 wise and talented children, Luca, 15, and Maya, 11. Gwen has been studying Shambhala Buddhism for 15 years. She's certified to lead people in shamatha meditation practice. She also studies Hakomi therapy, which is a mindfulness somatic therapy based on the principles of nonviolence, organicity, and unity. In her working life, she is a declutter guru and professional organizer. She's also a certified restorative yoga instructor. In other parts of her life, Gwen enjoys writing and performing poetry, making art, communing with nature, taking care of her plants and pets, and laughing with her husband, Joe. Gwen combines all of these skills to bring her wisdom and skills to create nurturing environments for others to connect to their own innate wisdom and basic goodness so that they may connect with others in healing ways. And just reading your bio this morning, Gwen, I felt so inspired. I love to hear. It's sometimes daunting. Ooh. Are we here? We're hearing, can people mute themselves? Or shall I mute Laura perhaps? Okay, I was just hearing background noises. So I find your bio very lovely and inspiring, Gwen, and I'm so happy that you're here with us today. So I'm going to hand it over to you now, Gwen. Thank you. Thank you for being here with us.
Thank you, Bella. I wonder if Mark Graham, I'll get to see his face, but yeah. So far I have 2 black screens. So yeah, I'm Gwen and I'm happy to be here. I know it's a busy time of the year. So here we all are somehow magically together and so far apart. I would like to go around quickly and just so that everybody can introduce themselves and I can hear everybody's voice. Maybe you could just introduce your name and where you're located. Yeah, that should be, and maybe the ages of your children if you have any. Okay, so why don't we start with Mark?
Hi, I'm Mark Graham. I'm in Brooklyn. I was sorry, there was a lot going on behind my screen, so I was trying to avoid burdening you guys all with it. But I have two 13-year-olds.
Great, thank you. Okay, how about Marcel?
I'll show my screen too. So I'm Marcel Gilkerson. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I have two children. One's 23 and one's 21.
Great. Okay, how about Will?
Hi, I'm Will, and I've got a few people here behind me. We're in Springfield, Oregon. That's right by Eugene and Shambhala here. I've got a couple kids that are 1 and 4. I don't know if anybody else wants to introduce themselves in the room here.
I'm Mia, and I am a member also of Open Sky, and Will and I are considering trying to start a family program at Open Sky, so that's why we're coming to participate in these Zoom calls.
And I am Ava, and I am the mother of one 6.5-year-old son, and I'm just interested in being part of it.
So I can't hear everybody in Will's party very well. It's a little in and out. So maybe when you all want to speak, you can come closer to the computer. Who else? Laura? I don't know what happened to Laura.
No. Wait. Let's unmute her.
And I have his
Laura?
30-year-old son. Yes.
Oh, could you start over again? You were muted.
Okay. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
You need to know that I'm constantly leaning toward you because my computer is acting up and I'm not hearing you very well. It's very, very quiet.
Okay.
So anyway, I'm Laura Burnham from Los Angeles, and I coordinate the Families and Children group there. So that's why I'm here.
Great, thank you. Let's see, how about Tracy?
Good morning. I'm Tracy, and I'm in Boulder. This is Frank Zappa. He just is a lap dog. And let's see, my kids are 27, 25, and 19. So I have 3 kids in college right now.
Wow, thanks. How about Julia?
Hi, I'm Julia Volkman, and I have 2 kids, 25-year-old Devin and 14-year-old Dante. And I really want to turn my camera off because I haven't even had a chance to shower.
Okay. Was that everybody, or is there anybody I'm missing? Okay. All right. Yeah, Tracy.
Did Gala introduce her family?
Okay. Oh, she didn't.
Okay. So hi, I guess I introduced myself at the beginning. I'm Gala, I'm in New York City, and I have a newly 13-year-old daughter, Mina. So lovely to be here.
Great. Well, it's wonderful to hear all of you, and I will just tell you that it's interesting talking about this particular topic because this year, my colleague and I, Andra, who can't be here this morning, we actually did a retreat on this very thing. And I had it all in my mind. I made a little card with my intention on it. And in somewhere in there, a house came on the market that seemed just perfect for us. And we all jumped on the chance to buy a new house, and so we're in the process of doing that. So it's a really, you know, even with our best laid plans, things can happen that throw it all off. So here I am in the midst of all of the speediness of the holidays, as well as trying to buy a home, and feeling completely thrown off by all of it. And having two children, my children they're actually 13 now. My daughter's 13 and my son is 16 and a half. And both of them love the holidays and have a lot of expectations based on the traditions that we've already had. And they're very nervous that they're going to miss out on the holidays this year because we're buying this house. And they're afraid that we don't have enough money to buy presents and all the things. And it's interesting being a Buddhist family, because here we are confronting our own attachments to what we want for the holidays, what we want for presents, what we want. Oh, we want all these things, and we have all these attachments, and here we are really feeling it, and how the attachments to where we live right now and what we do at this time of year are really being challenged. And so I'm just going to take that as good news. It doesn't mean that my family is going to be happy with me. It doesn't mean that ritual has to, you know, be set aside in any way. We can still celebrate, but it might look different. So when I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about this morning and bring for all of us, there's two things. But the main thing is the practice of Hakomi, and maybe that's foreign to some of you, but it's based on the Buddhist principles of nonviolence, non-duality, this sort of unity principle where we're all in this together, and also uniquely ourselves. And there's a way in which I feel very strongly that instead of giving everybody ideas about how to bring ritual or into your lives, because that's so personal, that there's a way that we can use the mindfulness that we've already been trained in using and doing to actually help us go inward to see what we really want and need for our families and for ourselves too. Sometimes we in big families or even small families, as a king and queen of the house, we can forget what we actually want for ourselves and for our family life during this time. But the thing that came to my mind was Trungpa Rinpoche used to say, life is ceremony. So even though this time of year feels like a particularly ceremonious time, or a time when we really need to bring ritual, my guess is that we already have a way in which we show up in our families that has a quality of ceremony and ritual that we can already appreciate. We can already say like, oh, we are a family, we already do these things. And give ourselves a little break and be really gentle with ourselves during this time. So to enter into a space of where we can create an intention, set intentions for ourselves and our family, it's kind of good to go inside and come back to ourselves. And that's what I wanted to offer you all this morning, was just an opportunity for all of us to come back to ourselves and actually notice what's happening right now in this present moment inside of each one of us. Because like I said, I don't know that I have any wisdom about ritual that would apply to your life specifically. I think we all have the wisdom to know what we need and want at this time of year. Or maybe our children like mine, because a lot of you have older children, there's already ritual that's been set in motion. So here's what I propose. We can practice coming back to ourselves right now, and I'll lead you in that. And hopefully that'll plant a seed of that later, you know, through this next few weeks, you'll be able to take moments to actually come back to yourself and check in. How does that sound to everybody? Okay. Let's see. Okay. So if everybody could just, I know we're all trained in meditation, but if for just the next few minutes, we could sort of drop all of that. We can drop the instruction, like, oh, who's ever given us permission to just drop the instruction? But I'm going to do that right now. I'm going to take a chance and do that. So you can close your eyes and just take a moment to come back to yourself. You go inside. So it's just taking some time to really come back to yourself in whatever way you do that. Dropping all the techniques and simply being you. Sort of opening up the channel of curiosity, as if you were an explorer coming into a new landscape, a new but familiar landscape of the inside of you. And then I'm going to offer you some words. And what happens here is that when you hear these words, you'll just stay in mindfulness and notice what happens on the inside. Maybe there'll be sensations, thoughts, reactions. These statements aren't necessarily meant to be nurturing. They could be, they could feel nourishing, or they could feel maybe something inside of you happens where you're wanting to push it away. Anything's welcome. So just notice what happens inside of you when you hear these words. What you want matters. There is space for joy in this season. The way you celebrate the season is enough. And it is okay to rest. So just taking a moment to note what's happening inside and then coming back into the space of the group in any way you want to. So I'd love to hear from anyone what you noticed. You can go popcorn style. Just remember to unmute yourself if you're going to talk. Yes, Laura.
Okay. I just noticed that apparently most of the time when I think about the holidays, I think of a whole series of expectations that go with the holidays, you know, and so it was so good to be reminded that really they're about the things you just mentioned. So that brings me back to noticing that it's important to meet my own needs and help others in my family, in my environment to do the same. That it's really a time to reconnect with each other in a very basic way.
I love that. Your wisdom is shining clearly. Thank you. Anyone else have Gala?
Can you hear me? Yeah.
Yes.
So thank you so much. That was really lovely, Gwen. What came to mind is we have lots of rituals with our family in Mexico, but on this special day when we all come together, and it's several families, there's always a little bit of tension about different needs, of which I'm sure is completely universal. But what came up for me was the love versus the fear. And I've often wanted to kind of set an intention for the family to really like appreciate and enjoy this time when we come together. My mother-in-law is going to be 90, and we're not a huge family. And I realized I have a little fear that the family's going to be like, I don't want to do that, or this is silly. And it just was very clear that I can just say, let's just take a moment and really appreciate what's happening. And whatever they think, it's okay, because that is actually what I need to take that moment. And so even if it's just that moment, that the love is stronger than the fear. And that was really beautiful. So I will try to do that this year. Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hi, my name is Julie. Can I say something?
Yes.
I noticed that I'm logged in as MLA meeting. I apologize. I have a saved profile on my computer, but my name is Julie Wade, and I'm happy to be here today. Tracy sent me the link, and Gala as well. I saw 2 links. So I want to say, yeah, it felt like just sitting and relaxing and just taking the space and saying, okay, this is what I'm doing now. Giving me permission, me giving myself permission, saying this is what we're doing. We're relaxing now and thinking about, well, just being ourselves and taking a moment and slowing down. And I think those are things that are important to do, especially at this time of year and all the time, every day, every moment.
Every moment.
Yes.
Ideally. Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, is there anybody else who wants to say something about that exercise?
I'm happy to talk. I actually came fresh off of a disagreement on holidays into this call. That was literally where I was walking out of, and I'm part of Extinction Rebellion. There's a meditation rebellion here in New York, and they have a meditation rebellion on the 21st of December, and family is coming in, and I was kind of trying to navigate what it's like to say I want to be with the family, but I want to do this thing, and it's important to me. And I think I had actually taken that moment at that time to think about that, and what I expressed, although I need to go back and re-express that I do want to be with the family, but that what I really expressed is I'd love for them to be with me. But what I felt like in that brief meditation was, I felt I was struggling to feel that it was true, that I was struggling to feel like, I mean, it strengthened me to remember that, but it felt like I was, that it would be a fight, that there would be times where I'm going to have to say, no, this, my way of doing it is not okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it felt a little bit strengthening, but it also felt a little bit like conflict arose for me.
Yeah, so some fear came in, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you noticed that.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, it's good for us to notice even where our resistance happens. Especially as practitioners, we are already trained in inviting all of the experience in, and so it's all here. We might as well recognize it and bring it in, and not just set ourselves up for one way it has to be, or we get caught up in somebody else's idea about how the holidays need to show up, how the holidays unfold for us. The holidays have to be like this because we've always done it this way. That actually what we want for the holidays matters as well. Tracy, did you have something?
Well, for me, I just was reflecting on how much tension and pressure and stuff I put on myself just through different ideas of feeling like I'd like to create something, or what, not knowing what to create, but there must be something. And so I just really appreciate the simplicity, because our holiday is pretty simple. We've always just done a really simple Children's Day. And every year we face a lower than usual economic point at this time of year, every year. So it's always like, it's just sort of funny. So I just keep trying to think, because then my tendency is to just give up. Like, well, we can't do anything. We'll just, have a shrine and ignore the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, but I've been thinking, what could I do more creatively, and simply. So I liked the simple and creative space, and that there's space for joy, rather than feeling like, the need to just crank something up and create something.
Yeah.
So let that, whatever creative idea I come up with, let it come from that space of joy, rather than well, we have to do something.
Yeah.
Or I have to do something, but I would like to do something, to a gesture to just, for me, ritual is what brings the family together. What brings everybody in the same space in that moment together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not sure I found it yet around the holiday,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear this longing to have ritual that's simple and connecting, and also like giving yourself a break, keeping it simple and just enjoying each other. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyone else before I go on?
Okay,
I did want to
why
say
don't you
something.
go ahead? I've already spoken once.
Okay. Yeah, Julia.
Thanks. So it was hard for me to even get here today because I have this kind of insane work pressure that's happening right now. Some of you may be able to relate. This is usually a very slow time of year for me, so I have plenty of time. So all of our ritual, there's all this space. And this year, unexpectedly, I'm working around the clock and just, like trying to get some coffee and, keep myself going. And I'm feeling really curious about how it's going to work. Like what I'm going to be able to keep and what I'm going to have to let go. And yeah.
Yeah.
I let go of the shower this morning. That's one thing I let go of.
I love that. Yeah, and I hear a little bit of sadness when you think of letting go. Like what can be let go? Maybe it's some kind of human condition to not really want to let go of anything. Especially at this time of year, I find myself, I don't know if this resonates with you, but I find myself still in that childlike wonder around the holidays. I haven't been able to drop Christmas because I started doing Christmas with my kids. And so, you know, there's some part of me wants to drop it all together, but there's also magic, you know, Children's Day for some of us, the winter solstice, I also celebrated a little bit, but there's in my mind, there's this grandiose, like we're definitely going to go downtown and ride on the, what do you call that? The horse-drawn carriage. And there's going to be lights and singing, and it's just going to be, everybody's going to be wonderful. And it's all, we're just going to be so, everything's just going to be wonderful. And that's what's in my head. And it ends up exhausting me, you know, because this life happening too, and it's not, we do live in speedy times. And so, you know, for me, it's just wanting to slow down around the holidays, and how can I find moments of joy and just focus on them, like as their little gifts for us during the holidays, these moments of connectedness or joy. How about the Will family? Did you want to share anything? It's okay if you don't.
I think that we don't have anything we want to share quite right now. I missed some of the questions. I was playing with some kids in the yard, but we've really enjoyed everybody's thoughts. This is really great. Thank you.
Great. Great. Well, so from here, it would be wonderful if we could go away. If I was in your group, I would hand you out little cards and we could write something down so that we can remind ourselves about what we really want for the holidays, setting an intention. And this isn't about, you know, well, I want it to look like this, or, you know, I want it, it's like really coming from inside. And it might look different for, it will look different for all of us. And then of course, we're in this complex situation with our families, where our family members want something different, whether it's extended family, whether it's our children, and how do we manage all the expectations around that? So maybe there is a ritual that you already have. Maybe there's a ritual that we want to bring into our lives this year that's different. Maybe there's rituals in our lives that are tradition that we are okay with letting go. And I have this really great, this is so interesting, you know, being on Zoom, because I don't really know how to share everything yet, but I think you can probably Google it. It's called 21 Ways to Just Say No. It's something I thought about when Mark was talking, how you can say no without saying no. You know, how to set boundaries for ourselves. You know, ritual might be really important for you. And so Children's Day is what we do in our family, and we don't do Christmas. And how can you say no and validate the other person's needs too? And then how do we validate our own needs? And we're maybe not all happy at the end of the day, but that's okay. So a couple of examples would be, thank you for asking, but that isn't going to work out for me. It's not something not personal. Thank you for asking, but I'm not doing any interviews while I'm writing my book. Or these aren't specific to Christmas. Just no, thanks. I'll have to pass on that. I really appreciate you asking me, but my time is already committed. So you might want to Google that and see if that's something that would help you during the holidays, or something that you can bring to your parent groups. You know, we've been talking about the 4 immeasurables in our Parenting as Path group. So the 4 immeasurables are loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity. And joy is something that I think ritual is what brings joy, but it's actually the gratitude that we feel about the ritual, about being connected with our family. That's actually what brings joy, right? It's not it's not the external thing of the ritual. Going to Children's Day may be beautiful and may touch us, touch our hearts, but if we don't feel gratitude for that ritualistic thing that somebody else has brought together or we are bringing together, if we don't feel gratitude for baking the cookies and handing them out to the neighbors or decorating the tree, then we might be setting ourselves up to really miss out on the pure joy that can come from feeling appreciative of what we already have. And when we cultivate that, and it's actually something natural that comes to us, but we have to kind of fake it until we make it with the joy, with the 4 immeasurables. So we have these practices. We can do meta practice around gratitude, or we can just simply start to infuse our every single day, every moment with reminding ourselves to say thank you. So it's possible that your intention for this season, this year, this moment would be just to bring gratitude into your lives for what you already are doing. And so I had one question, is like, what are you already doing that feels good during the holidays? And what I heard, I heard a few different things. Like for Mark, maybe it's this season, it's already doing something that's of service to others through his meditation practice. And he's willing to let other things go, and he needs to do that. So it's like really coming from the inside. When we're strong in that, we can have gratitude that we actually have people in our lives who want us to be part of the holidays, for instance, but we can't show up. It doesn't mean there has to be some kind of conflict inside of, there will be conflict inside of us because we have this push-pull, but we can feel gratitude for all of it, not just gratitude for the hayride or the cookies, but even the conflict of it's giving us an opportunity to really get in touch with what we need for the family, for the seasons, and for our family, what we want. So I have a couple questions. I don't know how much time we have. Let's see. Yeah,
15 minutes.
We're almost at the point where we need to finish up that last 10 minutes where we decide about next time.
Okay. And this call is supposed to end at 11. Is that right? Or 1 your
Right.
time?
In 10 minutes.
Laura, I thought we did that after we end the call so that Gwen would actually have 15 minutes and then we'd go. Really? So we're going to talk about
your understanding.
Okay. Tracy or Marcel, just to let's see.
Yeah, we have another.
I can stay on, but that's the way we've usually done it. Is that
okay?
Okay.
Because whoever wants to stay on the call, maybe the person or persons who want to be relating next time.
Okay.
Right. Or we have 20 more minutes. So we have time to actually have a conversation. This is Marcel.
Okay.
Everyone, and then actually at 1 o'clock Eastern time, we'll switch into having a conversation about who's facilitating next. And only the people who want to stay on that call.
I stand corrected.
So, right.
We're all figuring this out. That's great.
Okay. I just need 5 minutes at the end then.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Well, if you have something to write these down, I'm going to give you a series of questions, and then we can just kind of open it up for a short, if 1 or 2 people want to share something about anything related to these. Since it's such a short time, I just wanted to give you some questions that we offered our parents. So and then from there you could, maybe you'll get more clear about your intention for the holidays and be able to write that down somewhere and post it for you and your family. Maybe you don't want to post it for your family. Maybe it's just for you. So what is unique about the way your family celebrates important dates, such as, all of us have different ways we celebrate this particular time of year. What do you want your children to remember about the holidays in your home? How do you help your children practice gratitude and generosity? And the last question is, if there was one thing you could change about the holidays, what would it be? So as a starting point, I think it's really wise for us to appreciate what we're already doing. And in a Buddhist construct, it might be what we're already being. It's not like, oh, we go to Children's Day. Like what is already happening naturally with yourself and your family around connectedness, gratitude? Like it might be doing a puzzle together. It might be, oh, I rest more. I'm modeling rest during this time. I let the kids stay up later and then I snuggle with them as we go to sleep because we have time to do that. Or maybe it's the opposite. Maybe it's some more energy. Maybe we're doing more, giving service. And that's what I do during this time of year. So what is it already that you're doing? I'd love to hear what's already happening for people that you appreciate. Yeah, Laura.
I just want to share something really amazing that's happening in LA this time. Tomorrow, we normally have Children's Day about a week or so before Christmas. And that's on the calendar, but it also falls on the last day of our fall semester. What we now have a semester program where for 5 sessions during a 5-month period, our parents meet in one room and the children all meet in different groups depending on their age. So what's happening instead of Children's Day this year is that the people on our family council convinced me that we should not have Children's Day this year at all. Mm-hmm. What they wanted to do was to have what they're calling the Way of Council, which is a circle of people. Yeah. And they do this in the Jewish tradition of one of the parents, and it's just beautiful. And they're all gathering in a circle, and the kids are going to gather with us. If there are kids that are like 2 years old and they got to do something else, we'll have them in the corner of the shrine room playing with their stuff. But we'll all be together, and we're going to spend that hour, about an hour and a half, just sharing with each other and passing a talking stick, around, even to the kids, of course, and just talking about what they want to talk about, what's important to them, what they appreciate, what they care about. And then we'll finish the whole thing with a big potluck supper together. And that will be our last session for this fall semester. And then we start up again in February and we do the spring semester. And it's all, we work as a group, as a family council. Our family council are also the leaders of these groups. So it's going to be real interesting. And I am personally so happy and appreciative that this has happened, because it means that those people are taking the lead and I'm not having to do it, which I usually do. And I've been encouraging this kind of attitude. So now what I'm getting is people doing what they really want to do, and I can step back and enjoy it. And we're not all working for hours to create this big Children's Day thing. So I just wanted y'all to know because there is that option. Oh, shush. I'm so sorry. This is important.
I love that. I can sense the joy in the simplicity of the way of counsel. It's beautiful. And just hearing everybody's voice and giving children an opportunity to talk in a group where there's adults. It's really pretty profound for children, I have a feeling. Anyone else? And I mean, it doesn't have to be the ways you already bring a sense of ritual to your family or to the holidays, but it could be any of these other things. Or maybe the questions spark a curiosity about, wow, that's something I would like, but we're not doing that. I know in my family, I don't think we outwardly practice managing expectations or having a sense of gratitude, you know. Tracy, were you going to say something?
Well, I just got kicked off for about 5 minutes or something. So what were the questions? Where are you guys at, if you don't mind recapping?
Yeah, so the questions are, what is the unique way, or what is unique about the way your family celebrates important dates? So around this season, it could be, what are you already doing that feels good to you? What do you want your children to remember about the holidays in your home? And how do you help your children practice gratitude and generosity? And then the last one is, if there's one thing you could change about the holidays, what would it be? Whether you have power to do that or not. Is there something missing that you would like to bring into the holiday season? So if anybody has any answers or curiosities, I'd love to hear. Yeah, Gala.
So I think what came to me is that, as I mentioned, we have this beautiful 90-year-old matriarch in Mexico who is really like a master ritual maker. And so I realized that we honor her by coming together every year. And that's just what we do. So that's part of our ritual. And I just thought a little bit, it's kind of a two-part, answer. The thing that I would change is just adding in a little more intention around it. Because I think we all show up and we really all love this rituals, but sometimes it feels a little bit perfunctory. And I realize, like, she's really old and we completely adore her, but there's a way that some of it just kind of happens where it feels like we're just showing up, and that I really adore this person and all that she's done, and that to set a little more intention around, why we come and why we're there. So throughout the call, I wrote some notes about maybe reaching out to the family members, especially because she's going to turn 90 in March, and just ask them maybe as a gift, if they felt inspired, to write a little piece about exactly your question. What does this ritual, or the way that this woman has created these rituals for us, mean? And then maybe they'd be inspired to share it with her, either in community, to read it to her, or to put it together and offer it to her. So I think that's part of slowing down, that I have all these moments where I like tap my heart and feel so grateful in life. But as an artist, I really also like to sit and articulate, why is my heart like beating, and what is this amazing, beautiful thing that I'm experiencing? And if people are moving so fast, is there a way we could slow down and really just share this beautiful feeling of love and appreciation. So thank you so much for that prompt. Yeah.
Lovely. Yeah, the simplicity of just, I think sometimes we can take some spark of inspiration inside of ourselves, and our heads, our minds glom onto that. The mind is a problem solver organ, and then it starts to create all this scenario and this whole construct, and like our heart, there's no room for our heart in that. So I love this idea of making room for your heart. So we have just about 3 more minutes. Maybe one last person would like to share something.
Hi, if I could say something. My name is Julie again. I know I'm logged in as MLA meeting, but I like it to keep a sense of magic around this time of year too. Sometimes I guess getting sort of a speediness of all the things that need to happen, but I was just thinking now about trying to keep the sense of magic and joy there with it, and then I guess I was thinking about my small family, my family here, and then thinking about the bigger family of I'm in New York City, and Gala and Mark we're a part of the New York City family group. So thinking about that bigger group, and the New York City center, we lost the center, and we're meeting in each other's homes, which is very nice. But I do miss Children's Day. We haven't been able to do that this year, but we're doing very nice gatherings in each other's homes, which is really nice. So yeah, just thinking about those rituals of the family gatherings, and then just the larger. I was also thinking about my larger family as well. We do a lot of traveling to visit other family members, and the aged family members, and the ones that are ill, and anyway, just trying to keep the sense of joy and magic surrounding that as well. Just the momentary glimpses of relaxing in the moment and appreciating where you are with that person at that moment, wherever they might be in their journey of life. And so yeah, thank you for this prompt. These are great things to think about. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, while you were speaking, I was like, this is great, because it wraps it back around to this idea that life is ceremony. Like any moment we have with ourselves, with the world, no matter, and with other people, wherever we are, we can celebrate that moment. Just being a breathing, feeling human being is actually ceremony. There's actually ritual already in like getting up every day, brushing our teeth, even all the like madness. We could even look at the madness and speediness of our lives as some kind of aliveness, instead of it being like, ooh, and looking for the magic in the ordinary that's already there. And there's during this time of year, I think some people say the veil is very thin, like there's magic there in the crispness of the air, the way the moon looks at this time of year. Maybe you'll even notice some littler things if we just open up our minds and hearts to the ritual that's already existing in the natural world around us, even if we live in the city. Because we can feel it at this time of year. So that's it. And I have had a wonderful time meeting you all, and I hope that you have some inspiration and some seeds to explore further, whether it's looking up ways to say no and create boundaries for yourself, or ways to tap into the sort of ordinary magic and contemplating how life is already ceremony, how to appreciate the rituals that you're already bringing, that you're already tapped into, noticing where things don't feel quite right for yourselves, and really being able to take time to go inside yourselves as the sort of pillars of your family, and take note of what's actually happening inside, not just outside. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank you
Gwen. Thanks,
so
everyone.
much, Gwen. That was really very beautiful, and I feel so happy that we've had this time together, all of us. So I am actually not sure about the next date that our call will be happening. So if Tracy or somebody does at the end, or if you want to type it in the chat, then I can announce it to everybody. So what happens right now is that based on this experience together, if one of you feels moved to offer a theme, a topic, a question, something that you're really curious about that we can explore next month, and if you feel moved to actually be the facilitator for that, then you can either right now share the ideas. You don't have to be the facilitator, but you could share something that you'd love to follow up with or continue thinking about. And if you do think you might want to facilitate, then the call will end in 2 minutes, but those of us who want to talk about this will stay on and have a few more minutes to talk about that. Okay. So if anybody has any thoughts or anything that really was sparked right now and we feel that it would be a great topic for next month, please share with us now. Okay. And here Marcel just wrote, the second Saturday of the month is our current schedule for the calls. So January 11th is would be the next date. Okay.
And how, just an idea, talking about, I mean, we conventionally talk about New Year's resolutions, but we could talk about it in terms of, well, as Mingyur Rinpoche is putting it in his story of his yogi retreat, the end of, the end of one thing and the beginning of a new thing. So how to set intention, how to support our intentions, maybe looking at our intentions, supporting our intentions. So just an idea.
I particularly love that theme, and it is the end of a decade. So I'm a big supporter of that. But if there are any other ideas, we can consider. And it's even good to have extra ideas ongoing, so they don't all. We can do them over time if there are more thoughts right now.
I guess I'm curious. So my curiosity when it comes to working with families and Shambhala specifically, my question has always been, since I was a young mother, was how do we apply these teachings to parent life and family life? It's not a topic for January. I'm just curious. That's, that's where Andra and I, well, especially me, I think I drive a lot of that, is bringing in the Buddhist wisdom to any particular situation in our lives. So I just wonder, that's just a seed again, like maybe other people have a specific teaching that they're interested in, and then maybe exploring how you would apply that teaching to your life as a parent, guardian, child, family member.
That's very related to what I was thinking about too, Gwen, which is simply to ask at one of these gatherings, to ask people, what do parents really need? most? What do they want? And how can we on our calls be helpful in that regard, in answering those questions or those needs?
Mhm.
Okay, it is 2 minutes after 1 for anybody who needs to run off. But if there are any other ideas, this is our last moment, and then we'll stay here. Okay, so we're saying goodbye to
Only bow
Bill
out
and
with a
family.
drink for everybody who.
Yeah, I have to go buy a house and do other things.
Thank you, Gwen. Yeah.
Good to meet
Thank
everybody. Thank you. See
Thank
you.
you so much, Gwen. Yeah, we'll formally close the call. And if anyone would like to stay and continue with this conversation, please do. But otherwise, I've taken notes of everybody's ideas, and then we'll get in touch with everyone. We didn't begin with our bow, but I think we could end, if anyone would like, with a bow as we say goodbye. Okay.
Thank you, Gwen.
And just for anybody who wants to know, I've asked Mark to stay on to talk a little bit about the meditation rebellion, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'd be delighted.
Gala, can you end the recording?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Okay, formally ending the recording.